Roger, police.
My aunt lives on Portage Street, and a friend of ours stopped over there yesterday to check on her, and she was nowhere to be found.
A 98-year-old woman died after she was reported missing yesterday. Police said she was found in a hidden location in her house.
Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. My name is Amir and I am going to tell and review another criminal case tonight on Crime Cases TV channel. If you are looking for a mind-blowing criminal case, don't miss this video. This person you see is 17 years old, Gavin Ramsey, who was brought to the interrogation room for the murder of 19-year-old Margaret Douglas. What the police didn't know at that time was that they were sitting in front of a complete monster. Now it is better to know a little more about the victim of this case, Margaret Douglas. Many of his family members and those around her have described her as a generous yet independent person. After World War II, Margaret married her husband, Donald Douglas, and they moved to Ohio. 98-year-old Margaret was proud of herself and her perseverance and was looking forward to celebrating her 100th birthday, but her dream was shattered by a brutal murder. It broke. The terrible and shocking thing about this case is that after examining the body, the police noticed something strange. 98-year-old Margaret's underwear was torn and her face was also damaged, which showed that this woman had been sexually assaulted and strangled by the hands of the perpetrator. After these incidents, the old woman's family was shocked. Margaret's 7 vertebrae were broken and had suffered several severe blows to her head. At first, the police tried to find the main culprit in this case, but most of the clues came to a dead end until they received several complaints about petty crimes being randomly committed around Margaret's house. The only thing they knew about the suspect was that he had green eyes. This green-eyed boy was none other than Gavin Ramsey, and he was only 17 years old. At first, he and his friends had gone to Margaret's house to steal.
Roger, police.
My aunt lives on Portage Street,
Okay.
and a friend of ours stopped over there yesterday to check on her, and she was nowhere to be found. We didn't know if you found anybody wandering.
No, we don't have any reports of anybody wandering.
We can't find her in the house anywhere. He went in the house and looked through the whole house, couldn't find her.
Did she live there by herself?
She lives there by herself, yes.
What's her name?
Margaret Douglas.
I'm sure you guys know about the elderly woman that was found.
Oh my God, that was horrifying. That was horrifying.
Kevin, you know anything about it? Something else you need to tell us? You just want to tell us what you guys were doing and what was happening that night? You're 17, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we snuck out. So we were just walking around. He didn't even drive. Like, he just walked.
Oh, he walked from his house in Newcliffe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
And then we met up at Durling, and we weren't really doing anything.
Okay.
And then we went, like, into the courtyard, but that's all we did.
Now, you did more. Unfortunately, you guys have left behind some very telling items. Okay? If we're going to get to the bottom of this, let's just make it the truth all at once. Let's deal with it and get it done.
17.
Yeah. You're a kid, so you're not looking at it as much trouble as. Is there something else you need to tell us? What's upsetting you so much?
Nothing.
So if there's something else, let's get it all out on the table so that we know what we're dealing with.
If you pay attention to this boy's mother, you will realize that she still doesn't know the whole terrible truth of this story and thinks that her son is innocent.
And just telling me about it doesn't give you much relief.
Such is the fact that it ruined my life.
This reaction of Gavin crying and throwing himself on the ground shows that he is aware of what is going to happen to him and what his future is going to be. If we want to look at it from another perspective, we can say that he himself accepts what a brutal crime has been committed.
So, what happened to Margaret's underwear? Right?
There was a bit of an altercation. Like she wasn't whatever she was going through.
So did you kind of wrestle with her then?
A little bit. Like just off the couch.
On the floor? And her underwear got torn then?
Yeah, he got that.
Gavin claims that Margaret's underwear was torn during the fight, but this is a big lie. In fact, this underwear was torn when he raped this old woman.
So when she died, was she on the couch or on the floor?
Floor.
Were you on top of her then?
Kind of.
Like straddling her?
Yeah.
And did you use one hand or both?
Both.
Did you squeeze it or push her against the floor or both?
Both.
And you said you don't remember if she was bleeding at that point.
Oh, and the only reason I can think of bleeding is when I put my hand over her mouth.
So when you were holding her hand over her mouth, you might have pushed too hard and maybe made her nose bleed.
Yeah.
You never told your counselor about any of the thoughts that you have?
I knew about it, and she didn't. She started with trying to treat the depression first, and it wasn't working for a little bit. I still tried to kill myself, but I didn't. No, I don't care what happens to me. Like honestly, I don't. It's what happened. Like what would it do to my mom? It's like I killed myself and that my mom said she couldn't go another day if I died. I'm not gonna kill myself because of that. So it's more for her, not for you. Yeah, I don't care about me. I don't. You do. People care about you. Other people might advise. It's because you're dealing with so much. That's why you don't. You still. That's why.
The night you were out at Margaret's, had you drank or smoked anything? That night?
No, I was actually sober that night. Which is another reason why I smoke and I drink. Because I can't handle myself when I'm sober. Or I can't, like, comprehend. I don't even know the word to use. My thoughts when I'm sober are dark. When I'm high, they're like good thoughts.
If she was here, what would you say to her?
Like, what do you mean?
If she was here alive in front of you, what would you say to her?
I'm sorry. That was never meant to happen.
This boy had a history of many crimes in that area. What the police discovered later shocked them. 17-year-old Gavin Ramsey had taken a series of photos and videos of Margaret and her buddy. The boy said that he took these pictures while Margaret was sleeping. Gavin had entered Margaret's house through the back door and Margaret was sleeping on the couch. But as if she had noticed that someone had entered the house, she had woken up in a very worried state. According to Gavin, fear could be seen in Margaret's eyes. After seeing Margaret awake, Gavin had decided to strangle her, and the teenage boy brutally strangled her to death. It is interesting to know that Gavin had thought of everything. For example, he had used a pair of gloves for the crime so as not to leave his fingerprints. But due to his bad luck, he had forgotten to take the gloves from Margaret's house. The police found the gloves, and by finding DNA on the gloves and fingerprints, they were 100% sure that the main culprit and the main suspect in this story is 17-year-old Gavin Ramsey, who brutally killed this old woman. Gavin had admitted that he was fully conscious when he attacked Margaret, but then he couldn't stop himself and killed Margaret. Gavin's mother testified that her son has a mental problem and has been under the supervision of a counselor and has been taking a number of medications. Gavin had a conduct disorder. In this mental disorder, the sick person breaks all the rules and performs destructive and violent behaviors. And most of these people, if they see that the other party is not satisfied with having sex, it makes them want to experience that sex more than before. And they don't care if the other person is satisfied or not. But these cases were not enough to reduce Gavin's sentence in the court. Psychologists in this case believe that Gavin would commit similar crimes if released and might become a serial killer. Finally, on January 3, 2019, Gavin Ramsey was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder and rape of 98-year-old Margaret. Thank you for being with me until the end of this video. If you are interested in criminal videos, the interrogation room of criminals and their trial, please subscribe to the channel. We are waiting for your likes and comments about this case.